Hey, welcome back to another exciting edition of 90 Day Fiance. And in this episode, I'm doing a talk about the K1 visa part 2. And I'm going to talk about things that will get you denied, or red flags that will cause them to look at your application more, which actually may cause you to be denied a little bit more. And let's just say, first one is insufficient evidence. You cannot prove that you and your fiance have been in a relationship, or the relationship is just a little bit funny and they don't feel for it. For example, you got divorced Monday and on Tuesday you're applying for the K1 visa. Right there's a little bit on the shaky side. Take some time to get to know the person. Or a guy goes overseas and he parties it up and he comes back 3 weeks later. Now he's engaged and he's only known the girl for 2 weeks. They're going to wonder why. You want to marry someone and spend the rest of your life with that person you've only known 2 weeks. Not good. And in some cases it might be a huge age difference, but I don't think this would actually matter a whole lot, because I've seen 70-year-old guys marry 20-year-olds. I've seen a 73-year-old trying to marry a 19-year-old. So that is kind of a strange thing, but I've seen it a lot. Happens a lot in the Philippines and in Thailand. And different religions can be. Now, this is not really, I wouldn't say this is really a major thing, but it depends on how devout the person is. But this could actually be a hindrance. And difference in culture. Now, this could actually be a really big one, especially if you engage too soon and you don't know about the culture of the other person. And basically, I would say that if you engage too quickly and you know nothing about their culture, you two are not going to get along very well. I've seen people date people or get engaged to people outside of their culture, but they turn to that culture. Like that song, Turning Japanese. Well, they might get engaged to a Japanese lady, and the next thing you know, they're wearing Japanese clothes and listening to Japanese music and becoming Japanese. So they're turning Japanese. And I think so. All right. No common language. That means you guys need an app to speak to each other. And I know there's a guy at my work, he told me that he brought his wife in. I think it was maybe on a K3, but they had to show the communication, like on Skype, and the translator that they were using to translate the messages, so they knew what they were saying. So they actually had to prove how they communicated when they actually did not speak the same language. And little physical time together, which boils back down to engaging too soon. So if you only knew each other for 3 weeks and you come back to the States and you applied for a visa, and it's only been, let's just say, 3 weeks after you got back, so 6 weeks, something's wrong there, because you really don't know each other, but you got all the paperwork done. It's only 6 weeks. You're planning to spend the rest of your life together. Something's not right there. And then there's the poor interview. And like I said in the other video, if you go to the interview, they're going to ask you personal questions about your background, job, employment, what you like to do to each other, how you met, stuff like that. And if the fiance cannot answer them, they're going to say, this person knows absolutely nothing about this other person. And if you Google questions for a K1 interview, they'll actually show you a lot of different questions. And it'll talk about the employment, where they live, what you plan to do when you get to the States. Do you plan working? Does your fiance want you to work? What do they do for a living? What kind of car they drive? What kind of house they live in? And, stuff like that. And family stuff, like what's the brother's names or the sister's name? Have you talked to them? Do you know them? And they need to have an answer right away. The second thing that'll actually get you denied or cause red flags will be misrepresenting or lying on your application. And basically, if you show Photoshop pictures or pictures like you go in July, let's just say that you go in July and you decide to have your Christmas photos taken or some photos taken with you in some Christmas gear, and you tell them this was Christmas and Christmas hasn't happened yet, and you put the wrong date on it, or you're trying to say that you were there for Christmas, they're going to know that you're lying because the U.S. State Department actually knows when you left the country to go to that country. So if they do a passport check on you and they say, well, you only been in the Philippines or Thailand or whatever country you're talking about in July for 8 days, how could you have taken these pictures for Christmas? They know when you left on a plane, what country you went to, and how long you were there. They have that ability. So trying to say that you were somewhere where you weren't, or you're photoshopping pictures saying that you were somewhere that you weren't, they're actually going to know, and that is going to cause you to have your the K-1 visa denied, and you may face jail time. And false affidavits from friends. One thing you might want to consider is having people that you know, mutual friends between the two of you, write a statement up saying that they've known you for X amount of years or months, know you were dating, they've gone places, they've been with you, they know everything about it. Whatever they can say to say that they know that you two are in a relationship. And trying to get someone to say that they know you two in a relationship when you weren't can be problematic. And sometimes, like I said, when you do your application, you fill out a short history of your relationship. And basically, you're going to tell them how you met, what you did together, when you started dating, and stuff like that. And during the interview, they may ask those exact same questions to see if you two, in fact, met on that storyline. So when I did my K3, they asked me at the embassy in Japan, where did you get married? I got married at the courthouse. Where did you have your reception? Max's Fried Chicken and Paranaque. Who was at the reception? 4 brothers, 4 sisters, mother, father. Well, what are their names? Ba 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 ba. And I'm sure they asked her the same questions. Now, she said, oh, we got married in the backyard of our house. And who was there? Oh, just my mother. Where do you have a reception? Oh, my mom cooked up some fried chicken. Now the stories don't match up, and they'll be like, oh, let's just look a little bit more because these stories don't match up. And applying for the wrong type of visa. So she comes in for like a tourist visa. They'll say, okay, you're going to go to New York for a week. What are you going to do there? Oh, get married. Whoa, time out. You're going on a vacation, tourist visa, but you're getting married? Yeah. How long are you planning to stay? I'm not. I'm just going to get married and stay there. So then they'll probably deny it. Not disclosing medical or criminal history, trying to say that you have a clean record when you're actually a criminal, that's going to be problematic. And your travel. One thing that some people don't realize, and I just said it, is the State Department knows when you traveled and know the price, airline, plane number. They know everything. You don't even have to tell them. So I don't know why they ask, but they know. And if, say, an individual goes to North Korea one way without a return ticket or visa, the State Department knows. And when they do a background check, they'll be like, why did you go to North Korea? What was your intention? Why did you live in Russia? What was your intention? How long did you stay? Who paid for your plane ticket? So they're going to be thinking either this person really does not want to be in this country and getting married to the United States citizen is a scam, so we're not going to allow it. And another one would be falsifying income. So if you say you made $100,000 last year and you can't prove it, hey, there's a big problem right there. Oh, let me go back to the airline. Here's a story. I was in Cambodia at the U.S. Embassy, and there were two women, white women, I'm just going to come out and say it, getting married to Cambodian nationals. And one of the women were called up to the front desk and asked, do you know such and such name? She goes, never heard of her. And the guy at the front desk, or the clerk, said, you should know her. You sat next to her flying here to Cambodia, and you are flying back to the United States sitting next to her, and she lives in the same city as you. Come clean. So the State Department knew already, or the embassy knew already, that these two women knew each other, and it appeared it could have been marriage fraud. And the last one is being unqualified. That means you did not meet or have not met the meeting requirements in 2 years. Some people meet, they come back to the States, they get to know each other a little bit longer, and then they go and they apply for the K-1, but the 2-year meeting period has ended, and so they cannot apply. The one would be they don't meet the income. And if you are living in Section 8 housing or receiving any kind of welfare benefits, you do not qualify for the. And lastly, free to marry. Some people are trying to do a K-1 visa and have it approved after their divorce is set. If you are married, you cannot apply for a K-1 visa. And the fiance may actually be married. Like I said in the last video, that in the Philippines you need a proof of singleness in order to get married. And what happened was, back in the early 80s, the 70s, it was very difficult to track marriage records. And so some people would find out that their fiance were actually married after living with them for several years and doing the paperwork, and the visa was denied. So you have to be 100% single and not divorced. I mean, getting divorced or separated. You have to be 100%. Everything's got to be finalized. And these are the reasons why it will be denied. And I think that's going to end it for this video. If I remember anything else, I'll do another one on this. This is actually an easy process. It's the paperwork and the background checks and the financial stuff that caused this to be a very difficult process and long and drawn out. It used to be 90 days for the whole visa process to be processed, and this was before 9/11. After 9/11 hit, it went to a year to year and a half. Don't ask me why the delay was after a year and a half. I could see them scrutinizing stuff a little bit more, maybe going from 3 months to 6 months, but not 3 months to 18 months. So something really went down. And okay, well, that's going to do it, and thank you very much.